Mentoring is essential.
Selfless.
Foundational.
Motivational.
Transformational.
Life-changing.
Mentoring is love.
Hi, I'm Sarah Idrisu. I want to thank you for coming today to be a part of Capital Partners for Education's Gala, Uplifting Students Through Community. Over the next hour, you'll hear stories of strength and perseverance from students, mentors, and the CPE community. Today, I'm the Chief of Staff for Congressman Jamal Bowman. I was a teacher at first, and then the Executive Director of Educators for Excellence, and I earned a master's in education policy from Harvard. And I'm also currently a board member with Capital Partners for Education. Well before all of those things, my proudest distinction comes for being a CPE student where I was mentored for 4 years. As a high school student, my family was new to America. They didn't speak English well, they didn't know the system, Like so many DC students, I didn't have access or privilege. What I did have was a mentor. I wanted to go to the best possible school. CPE helped me with schoolwork. They helped me understand the world. My mentor took me to my first ever concert and play. She helped me build confidence and cultural capital. More than just academic skills. Mentors help their students and their families navigate the world outside K-12 and get on the path to college that often seems so distant. I tell you without hesitation, I would not be here today without CPE. CPE got me my first internship on Capitol Hill, and mentorship taught me how to build relationships across lines of difference. I'm here as proof that this program works. You'll hear a lot of stories about what this moment is like for young people. COVID-19 has created a situation like nothing we've ever seen before, where students have had to overcome the challenge of learning through a screen, apart from their teachers and friends, against the backdrop of a global pandemic. It's been the challenge of a lifetime. That's why it's so critical that we uplift CPE students. This coming year, we can write a comeback story for the district's young people. But we need to meet this moment and give students the mentorship, tutoring, encouragement, and even financial support that they need right now. I want to give a shout out to all the CPE students who made it through this year, especially the ones graduating high school this spring. That's what CPE does. It lifts us up. I'm proud to be a CPE alum and board member, and I can tell you what we do works, and it's more important than ever. I hope you enjoy this evening's program. Thank you so much.
Hi everybody, I'm Jason Reynolds, and I'm just sending a very quick message of encouragement to the young folks and to everyone involved with the CPE. But first I want to start with this. I wrote this years ago, I think maybe 2018, a very short poem that I use to encourage myself in tough moments, right? Very simple, it's called The Reminder. And it just says, I only want to tell you, I only need to assure that no matter what they say you are, and no matter who they say you are not that who, and far from that what, you are more. Very simple. I say this to myself all the time when I'm down and out, and it's something that I try to remind myself of because we are always more than our hard moments. We are always bigger than the moments we feel broken. We are always meant to be greater than the things that are trying to degrade us. And so I want to make sure you all feel encouraged moving forward. I'll give you a very quick anecdote. When I was in high school, I graduated from high school in the year 2000. And that year, so 1999 coming into 2000, there was all this sort of ruckus around this thing called Y2K. For all the young folks out there, ask your parents to tell you about Y2K, right? And it was this idea that none of our technological services, the assumption was that none of our technological services, so that's banks, that's internet stuff, right? All of these kinds of things, that they weren't actually designed to turn over into a new millennium, that we wouldn't be able to enter into the 2000s because they weren't programmed and calibrated to do so, right? It was a big fear. And so the fear was that come the year 2000, everything would kind of fall apart, right? Banks would sort of disappear, money, right? All this kind of stuff, right? I remember my mom filling up the bathtub with water for some strange reason. I'm not sure what she thought was going to happen. I think she thought we'd lose electricity and everything else because nothing apparently was calibrated. Now, of course, on New Year's Day, when the clock struck 12, nothing happened. Nothing, right? But what came out of that scenario was my generation, who would go on to invent all sorts of things to make sure that we would have forms and different ways of communication for the rest of our lives. Because coming out of that generation were the people my age, right? That was my time, that would invent what we now know as social media. That would go on to invent all of the different things that sort of exist within a smartphone and revolutionize technology moving forward. which means that this is important because as you all are coming out of a tough time, as you all have sort of struggled, I struggled too, by the way, all of us struggled, trying to deal with education and school and mental health and everything else, right? Family and loss and all these things that so many of us are struggling with. Just know that your generation will be the generation to make sure down the line that this never happens again. That never again will we have to experience something like this, because the genius that will come out of this torment, the genius that will come out of this struggle will be world changing if you all can just hold your chin up. Right? Don't forget, I just want to tell you, I just need to assure that no matter what they say you are, no matter who they say you are not that who, and you are far from that what. You are more. Peace out.
My name is Alva, and I'll be graduating from Capital City Public Charter School in June. The hardest thing about last year was the college applications. More specifically, it was the number of them and all the personal essays they asked for. But the CPE community really helped me with those, especially also when it came to the fees, like the waivers, the enrollment fees, housing deposits. They also helped me with those too. But personally, I couldn't see my friends every day. But when I played with them on the game, it felt semi-normal, so that was good too.
Before the pandemic, obviously Alva and I were able to meet up a lot, go to movies together, do things in person. And then once the pandemic hit, we shifted our focus to using tools like Google Docs and Zoom to check in with each other and to stay on top of college applications and other deadlines that he's had to hit, and those have been incredibly useful for us to continue our mentoring partnership.
This past year has definitely been tough, but it's also really inspired us to really step up for our students, because we know that they're the ones who've been impacted most throughout this pandemic. Whether it's the health crisis, racial justice crisis, economic crisis, or the learning loss, social isolation that they're facing, our students have needed people behind them, and CPE's tried to be a backstop or a safety net to help support them during this really difficult time.
A year ago, in March 2020, Capital Partners for Education really started with where the student was and where their families were. We rallied our mentors to check in on all of our young people. We rallied our PCs to check in on all our mentors. Once we had more information, we were able to determine needs. We provided a crisis curriculum to our mentors to check in on our students so that they could help our young people establish structure where there was none, reaffirm some level of certainty where a lot of anxiety was coming up. We opened up our emergency fund request system, which is primarily or historically has been used for academic supplies and uniforms, to things like rent, groceries, just meeting the basic needs of our students and doing our best to stabilize our families so that they could continue to persist.
After submitting several college applications, I'm happy to say that I received a full scholarship to Marshall University, where I'll be studying computer science.
I think community is incredibly important in helping low-income students to and through college. To touch on my life story a bit, I immigrated to this country at the age of 6 with my parents and my younger brother, and I saw just how hard they worked in order to be able to get us through life and into college. And any kind of support we could have had, outside of their jobs would have been incredibly helpful for us. And that's why I'm so grateful to see what CPE does, and especially in the past year, what they've been able to do to provide help for some of the daily expenses that families face every day.
I think mentoring is so important to economic mobility, because you can't achieve things that you may not have had exposure to. Our mentors have been where our students want to go, and so they are great supports and guides to help show our students the way as they navigate their path toward college, toward preparing for careers, and then ultimately economic mobility.
I've learned many things from my mentor, but one thing in particular is opening up, and I feel as though the more years I've been here, the more comfortable I've become with it.
Working with Alva has meant so much to me personally, because I think back and reflect on all the mentors I've had throughout my professional career and the lessons that they've imparted on me and to help me get to where I am now. So I think I owe it not only to myself, but to my community to be able to kind of give back and hopefully have the same impact they did and have that impact on Alva.
The reason I want to be a computer science major is because I see it has a very promising future, and also I was very inspired by my mentor, who is an IT consultant. After college, I want to be an officer in the U.S. Air Force, and I want to, within the Air Force, I want to be an intelligence analyst.
I think the thing that CPE does best is surrounding young people with adults who care. Our students in their schools have one guidance counselor for every 250 students. CPE students have one mentor for every student, and an additional staff member who supports 50 students. So putting those adults around them has made all the difference for our students over more than 2 decades now.
Hello, everyone. Allow me to begin on a note of gratitude. Thank you to Capital Partners for Education for inviting me to speak today. I'm immensely appreciative of the work you do, both on a professional and on a personal level. As the president of Howard University, I understand that the capacity and capabilities of the institution I oversee, while be it very ambitious, are limited. Even as our mission expands and swells, we are dependent on the support of other entities beyond our walls to enable what we strive to achieve on our campus. This has become readily apparent over the past year, especially as so many of our students have lived beyond Washington, D.C. At the same time that the pandemic has constrained Howard's resources, it has also exacerbated our students' needs. While we do whatever is in our power to support our students wherever they happen to be, we know that we cannot provide every one of our students with everything they need to succeed. We rely on the generosity of donors to create opportunities for them. We depend on partnerships with other institutions to bolster their educations. And we lean on the support of organizations such as yours to care for the individual student, to ensure they have the skills, the preparation, and the support network they need to thrive. Our students today have a diversity of needs: textbooks and notebooks, internet and computers, secure housing and a quiet place to study, regular access to nutritious food, and equal access to proper healthcare. But in addition, our students need love and affirmation from people who get to know them and respect them and care for them. They can and do receive this support from Howard faculty and staff and peers. But just as often, they find these mentors someplace else from someone who does not have an office on our campus. Throughout its 26-year history, Capital Partners for Education has supported numerous Howard students, not only helping them earn their degrees, but empowering them to see their true potential and gifts. On behalf of everyone in the Howard community, thank you for all that you have done for our students. On a personal level, I have a deep affinity and affection for your purpose as an organization. Every degree I have earned, every office I have ever held, every accolade I've ever achieved, has been because of my very good fortune of finding 2 things: mentors and communities. When I was in medical school studying to become a cancer surgeon, I felt different from those around me. My peers who wanted to go into surgery were loud and brash, while I was quiet and reserved. I also suffered from sickle cell disease that made the often grueling physical work of being a surgeon difficult for me to bear. Despite all the odds that were stacked against me, I was able to persevere and become a surgeon as well as a university president. I firmly believe that all that I have achieved in life has nothing to do with me being exceptional. The only reason I have been an exception is because I was able to find an exceptional environment that was uniquely capable of nurturing me. At Howard University, I found mentors who believed in me and made me believe in myself. When I was a medical student, Dr. LaSalle Lafall was gracious enough to take me under his wing. He was the chair of surgery at Howard University Hospital, as well as the first Black president of the American Cancer Society and the first Black president of the American College of Surgeons. He also happened to be fairly reserved like I was. Like all great mentors, Dr. Lafall was willing to look beyond the reasons someone like me should fail. He wouldn't use my sickle cell as an excuse, and he wouldn't allow me to either. Instead, he focused on finding the resources I would need for my positive attributes to supersede my negative ones. If Dr. LaFleur was my mentor as a surgeon, my mentor as a university president was Vernon Jordan, the civil rights icon and presidential advisor. For reasons I will never fully understand, Mr. Jordan took an interest in me and encouraged me to become president of Howard University. He was an extremely important and busy man, but he would always take time to have breakfast or talk on the phone. While I may not have been a traditional candidate for the job, he realized that I both had something to offer and a desperate need to get back to the university, from which I had earned 3 degrees and that transformed me into the person I had become. Howard has been my community and support network since 1988. It was a place I turned not only to pursue an education, not only to develop my skills, and not only to acquire knowledge, but to pursue, develop, and acquire confidence. At Howard, we are surrounded by examples of Black excellence and mentors who see us differently than the rest of society. And Howard is an oasis of self-exploration and discovery, not only because we are given freedom and independence, but because we are gifted with communal love and acceptance and support. I have witnessed it in my own life, and I've witnessed it time and again in the lives of so many students. Mentors are essential. No one is capable of achieving their personal potential on their own. We need help to see our potential, to cultivate our greatness, to liberate our true selves. The measure of a person is marked not by what we can achieve on our own, but based on what we can do with help. I encourage everyone I encounter to be a mentor, to find a mentor and to facilitate mentorship relationships. Mentorship is a two-way street, one where the benefits of giving and receiving flow freely between mentor and mentee, whether they realize it or not. The pride you feel in personal achievement is only exceeded by the pride you feel in helping someone else succeed. Mentors and mentees don't need to look alike. They don't need to have similar backgrounds or even come from a similar place. They don't need to be of the same generation. They don't need to work or aspire to work in the same field. A successful mentor-mentee relationship requires only a recognition of the other person's humanity. Both of my chief mentors in life, Dr. LaFleur and Mr. Jordan, have passed away within the past couple of years. I miss them both greatly and often find myself yearning for their advice, but their mentorship of me has not ceased, nor will it ever. Like nothing else in life, mentorship yields compound interest. The benefits we accrue vastly outweigh the effort and resources we put into it. It is my firm belief that there is no greater good, there is nothing more worthy of investment than mentorship and a supportive community for our young people. Thank you.
My name is Janeese Lewis George. I am a third-generation Washingtonian, a proud graduate of DC Public Schools, and I have the honor and privilege of serving as Ward 4 council member. Mentors have made the difference in my life. As a first-generation college student, being raised by a single mother, navigating college for the first time was really difficult. But my mentors gave me the tools I needed to be able to apply for my FAFSA application, apply for scholarships, decide what school I wanted to go to. My mentors were there to help me every step of the way. My mentors not only were with me getting into college, but they helped me throughout college, helped me pick out my courses, helped me decide what my passion truly was, so I was able to gain internships, how to apply for internships, go through the resume process, the cover letter process, things that may seem simple but can be really difficult for first-generation college students. My mentors were able to help me navigate and make my way through. In addition to that, my mentors were there to help me overcome hardships. Sometimes there are setbacks in life, and there are obstacles that you're going to have to overcome, and it's really easy to quit and give up. But with mentors there, you think about it and you make a different decisions because your mentors are there to help you overcome those hardships and those setbacks and continue on a path to success. And I think one of the most important things mentors do are also instill in you the confidence that you need to succeed. It's really hard to do anything the first time, to be the first at doing it. And so my mentors were there to instill in me the confidence that I needed, to have the courage I needed to overcome any fears that came my way, and let me know that I could accomplish my goals and that they were going to be there with me. And so mentorship for me has been the key to my success and continues to be the key to my success. And so mentorship is so important, and I look forward to continuing to pay it forward by mentoring young people myself.